Hello and welcome to a new video about the Roman Republic and the Roman Empire. And today I want to talk about kind of the relationship between ancient Greece and ancient Rome. So first of all, I have to mention that there was nothing like Greece back in the day. There was the identity as a Greek for many of the Greek cities, but there was not a unified Greece or a country called Greece. So we have to look in it more divided. It is similar as, for example, Germany in the medieval ages. If we look at that time, there were 1,000 little states, maybe not thousands, but hundreds of states, and those unified at some point, 1871, into Germany. This we can see also in the Greek world. There were many little city-states, and these all were quite hostile towards each other, we could say. If we basically want to look at three cities that have the biggest stereotype, we can look, for example, at Athens as the political and cultural kind of homeland of Greece, the peak of Greek civilization. We can look at Sparta to see warrior traditions. The strongest Greek warriors, we could say, are from Sparta, or at least those people are most afraid from, also Athenians. Then we have Corinth, which is basically the wealthiest city of Greece, if you want to say it like that. It was a city that had so much wealth through commerce, etc., that it was an important city in Greece. We also have other major cities in Greece, but these are basically the three most important ones. And there we see the problem. They all hate each other. Maybe the Corinthians don't hate the Spartans as much as the Athenians, but still we see all these cities and smaller cities constant fighting underneath each other. Only when the Persians actually invaded, they kind of united and fought together against them. But after this, the constant fighting has gone on. So we can see, if we speak about the Greek world, we can't speak about one united tribe under one ruler, but about many city-states that all have different cultures, different habits, etc. We can also speak about Greece and Macedon. And this is actually quite a tricky and debated question. Are Macedonians Greek? Well, many would say no, some say yes, but I would say there's a clear division between that, because if we look at the wars later from Alexander the Great, for example, when he lived, actually there was a clear split between a Macedonian man and a Greek man. The Macedonians looked down at the Greeks and the Greeks looked down on the Macedonians. And there we see it kind of is really split. You can't really say the Macedonians were Greek, even though some still practice doing so, and I would say it's alright as well. There's no clear rule to that. Now, for the sake of this video, that it not get too complicated, we look basically at the two different sides. We look at the Romans and the Macedonians, and the Romans and the Greek. Well, the Macedonians are kind of enemies of Rome. Really, we see that, for example, in the Roman-Macedonian War. Actually, wars, so there were many, there were three, and in these Rome conquered Macedon slowly and its allies. We could also say Greek allies. And there was really this war. They didn't really like each other. Now it looks different when we look at the Greek. The Romans kind of liked the Greek. Some hated them for their behavior. Many Romans did actually jokes on the Greeks. some looked up to the Greeks, some looked down to the Greeks. It is really indifferent here. It really depends in which time you are and to which Romans you speak. The vast majority of the people in Rome, they were kind of looking down on them, making jokes about them, while the richer Romans actually looked up to them. They had like this, the civilization, they had the culture. The Greek language was kind of a status symbol. Greek slaves were a status symbol. Greek philosophy, etc. There was much. Greek, for example, also Greek doctors were also like very important. They were like the best. So we see there, this is not clear. We can't say that the Romans hated the Greeks, or the Greeks or the Romans loved the Greeks. Both is not the case. It depends really on to who you speak. What we can say though, Corinthians hated Romans because Rome destroyed the city of Corinth in the end, which is a real shame because it was a beautiful city, it was a very rich city. So destroying the city is actually very sad. And that's why we can say, for example, that Corinthians hated Romans in the end.